cars are in position. The gear race at Macau has been a staple of the event for many, many seasons. Always for touring cars, it's always one that delivers great action. And for this season, it is going to be the final round of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour as well, and a fine grid of cars being assembled with now a five-way battle for the championship. Norbert Mikulich, Ted Bjork now up to second, having gained points and a place after qualifying yesterday. Then Esteban Guerrieri with Jan Erleche and Mikael Ashkiner, very much the outsiders next in the standings. It is a very busy grid. It is a very full grid as well. The first of two races then that are going to determine the outcome of the championship. The gear race will be tomorrow. This effectively the qualifying race for it, and it is going to be Ted Bjork who starts on pole position, and the points that he gained yesterday bringing him now up into second in the standings. Let's go to the grid first of all and join Lisa Leyland.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a very busy start grid here in Macau for the penultimate race of the 2024 Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. We have Ted Bjork here. He's our pole man. He came into the round 19 points off the lead, and because of yesterday's session time, he's now 10 points off the lead, and he's moved up to second in the general standings. It was also his first pole of the World Tour campaign. Ted, just a few words for you. I was just telling everyone at home, 10 points off the lead now. You were 19 coming into this weekend. A great place to be at this stage of the game. Yeah. Happy times.
No, but it is, you know, I was so happy yesterday to deliver the pole position time. I'm fighting for the championship. They are really good drivers. They will do anything to stop me, of course. Yeah. But it feels good, and big thanks to the car. Everybody's supporting me, and yeah, it's nice.
Ted, yesterday I spoke to your team manager, Frederick. Jan was 6 points behind you coming into this round, and Frederick said there was no team orders, you're just going to look after yourself out there. But he did help you. He provided you with two toes. Will you be expecting more today?
Oh, of help?
Possibly.
Of course.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to give me some diplomatic answer, but no, I mean, that is what's happening now then.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm in the front, he's there, I have more points, 2 more races to go. Okay. This will go really quick. You know, I try to get all the points I can, and I know the team supports me. Okay,
you're carrying 10 kilos. Big deal or not at this stage?
No, but as Mikael is carrying 30, Jan's 30, Norby 0. So I think it's tough, but I have nothing to complain about.
No, and of course it was your first pole of the World Tour as well.
Amazing. What happened? No, but it was so nice yesterday. So yeah.
Best of luck, Ted. Thank you.
Thank you.
A very important day for Ted, a very important weekend, in fact, for the Lincoln Coast Iron Racing team. Standings. They could actually do it in race 1, but we'll see. Let's grab a few words with Mikael Ashkiner over there. He told me after the Chinese round, where he picked up the race win in that first race, that was the toughest race of his career. He won in the wet on slicks, but he showed yesterday that he was also very fast in the dry. Mixed emotions for you, Mikael, because I think you were something like a 20,000th of a second off pole position, but you did show everyone that you're fast in the dry as well as in the wet yesterday.
Yeah, it was hard, to be honest, to lose the pole position by 20 thousandths of a second, especially as well with 30 extra kilos. I nailed the lap, so I had no mistakes on my flying lap. I put everything together, and to lose the pole by 20,000 is very painful. But today I have a chance, so I will go for it. I mean, the only thing I want is to win the race, and I will try my best, you know. So I think the car is competitive. I feel very good. I sleep super good, so I think I will be fast.
And also another factor, of course, your teammate Norby. He's just 10 points in the lead. I mean, that's not much coming into Macau. Will you be helping him?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, now he's only 2 races to go. Norby's leading by 10 points. We all focus on him right now as a team. and I will do my best to help Norby, and that's our strategy, and we work as a team, so we will do our best.
Okay, best of luck, Macau. Okay, let's see if we can grab a few words with Jan Erleche from Lincoln Co-Zion Racing. Of course, he's third on the grid there, and he's actually looking super chilled out there. Just down here, if you can see him. But do you know why I think he might be looking a little bit chilled? In terms of his championship fight, it's more about the team collective. Jan, you were third in pole yesterday. You did help your teammate. You provided him with 2 toes. I have spoken to Ted already. I mean, have you got team orders now for today and tomorrow's race?
Yeah, obviously we got them yesterday already, so for sure we have them today. My main goal will be to assist Ted as much as I can. We missed out on pole yesterday by 1/10 with 30 kilo ballast, and giving toes was not easy. But I'm super happy he set the pole, and we can fight now for the team championship. But for the driver, I will give him an help as much as I could. But we are a bit surrounded by Hyundais right now, 3 against 2, so it's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's funny I'm asking you that because I actually spoke to your team manager yesterday, and he said no team orders. So someone's telling porcupines to me. But let's talk about this racetrack here in Macau.
Good luck, mate.
There we go. Good team spirit there. Let's talk about this racetrack here in Macau. We saw yesterday just how unpredictable it can be, especially with the weather conditions. Today we have a dry race, but anything can still happen out there.
Just to come back on what you say, actually, Frederick told right because he was no team order, but by the fact Santi blew the engine in Q1,
yes,
and he was supposed to tow me, then we had to prioritize Ted, that is a bit ahead of me in the championship, so I could not get the tow, so I had to tow him, that's why. So he didn't talk bad, he said the truth. No. So about Macau, it's quite a tricky track. Yesterday, since the beginning of the weekend, the conditions are changing quite a lot. So it makes our life quite tough. At the moment, we haven't done any long run on dry conditions, so we have no clue about how the car will behave. We just guess the setup and we will send it. So after 4 or 5 laps, might be a bit of struggle, but we worked hard yesterday night to make sure it's less struggle as possible.
Best of luck. Thank you for chatting to us, Jan Erleche there. I want to speak to Norby Michelis. Of course, he's our championship leader. He came into this round 10 points in the lead. He managed that yesterday in the qualifying session. He's still got 10-point lead. But honestly, that's not a lot here in Macau. Anything, he's in his car. I think I'm going to leave him to it. Anything can happen in Macau, and 10 points really is not a lot. And then we saw yesterday, anything can happen, and it does happen. Let's speak to Nestor Girolami, obviously Norby's teammate. Nestor, just a quick word just before you get into the car. Nestor's in the perfect position. He's got Norby in front of him, and he's also got his fellow countryman Esteban Girolami behind him. You're in a great position to defend your teammate. Will that be happening today?
Yeah, of course. I mean, main target is to secure the driver title with Norby.
Yeah.
From the team title, we are a little bit far, but everything can happen. So, yeah, main focus to defend Norby, get a good start, and then try to do my race.
And just quickly, yesterday P5 in qualifying. That's a good result for you personally.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the pre-practice, we were stronger, and also in Q1 we were very fast. But then the track was getting dry, and the car balance was not in the right window.
Yeah.
And I think we did our maximum, but yeah, with this bittersweet that you could have done better. But anyway, it's a good starting position, P5. And
best of luck, Babu. Thanks for chatting to us. I just mentioned him, Esteban Guerreri, fellow teammate of Nestor there, and also fellow countryman. He's actually getting in his car as well. I wonder if I can get a few words with him. Maybe I can. He came into the championship 10 points down. He's now 14 points down. He slipped from second to third in the general standings. I don't think I'm going to grab a few words with him. He looks like he's a little bit in the zone. But we did see yesterday his teammate impact the wall, and he actually got a little scratch. I say a little scratch on his car. It wasn't little at all. But the team, Goat Racing, had a lot of work to do last night because of the qualifying session. But Esteban's in the car. We're almost ready to go. Good luck to all the guys. It's time for race 1 here at the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Back to commentary.
Race 1 almost ready to go here on the streets of Macau that have given drama all over the weekend, not just for the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour, but for all the other categories as well. Expect more of the same. David Addison, Alan Hyde are trackside. The grid is full. The fans are expectant. On the one hand, you've got a touring car race to look forward to, which is always good value around Macau. On the other hand, an important hand, you've got yet another chapter in terms of who is going to win the championships, plural, Alan, because there's not just the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour, there's TCR Asia and TCR China up for grabs as well.
There is so much to consider, not just the fact that we have the Macau gear race, which has such a huge history. Look down the names of some of the winners over the history of the Macau Grand Prix, and you see the world's greatest touring car drivers, and some represented multiple times. But as you say, it's also a job for mathematicians, and they're going to be working pretty much flat out during this race, after the race, and before tomorrow, during tomorrow, and after tomorrow, to work out these championships that are to be decided. I always used to think, before I came to Macau, I always used to think this is an incredibly testing circuit, and it's almost a little bit unfair to finish a championship here because it is so testing. Then I came to Macau and realised it's the perfect place to finish a championship.
Because if you can win around here and keep out of trouble, then you deserve the accolades. There you can see Mikael Ashkener in the Hyundai getting good to go. Ashkener for the BRC Hyundai M Squadra Corsa team, overseen by Gabriele Tarquini. The team's championship is also up for grabs. We're talking drivers inevitably, but you've got, don't forget, also the Hyundai versus Lincoln Co. Cyan Racing battle within manufacturers. There is Jan Elache, who's been explaining just down on the grid about yesterday. Santiago Urrutia, he touched on, and how that affected team orders. Well, Urrutia had an electrical problem, so the dash went dead, the car ground to a halt, and that meant that not only was he out of qualifying, but it meant that he was there for absolutely no use in terms of his teammate helping tow people around. So that's why they had to prioritise Ted Bjork, and it's also why Santiago Urrutia is going to start absolutely stone last. He's nearly in the ferry terminal so far back on the grid, is he? So Urrutia is going to be a man to watch as best he can be to make some progress here.
3-minute board displayed down on the grid, so the final few personnel being cleared from what was a very, very busy grid with all of the song and dance. We've had quite a bit of dancing going on the grid. Not seen that before leading up to the start of a race, but it's I think they were probably playing a bit of music down there, and the girls that normally merely represent their hotels from around the region here in Macau are also throwing some shapes down there on the grid. It's a great atmosphere, always a great atmosphere before any of the races here at Macau, and a packed crowd as well. We're just looking down at the those down in hospitality enjoying their lunch. They've got 3 world-class events to look forward to today. This is the first of them. 10 laps for the Macau gear race, then GTs later on this afternoon, and of course the qualification race for the Macau Grand Prix. All of that to look forward to, but for now it's all about touring cars.
We are going to concentrate, of course, on the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour, but I better just tick off the fact that in the TCR Asia Championship, it's Zhang Zhengdong versus Max Hart. We're very much the outsider now after yesterday, Huang Doyun. In TCR China, it was Jason Zhang ahead of Martin Tsao, but Martin Tsao took the 10 points for pole position by actually being 8th overall, so he is now ahead, and we'll try and keep on top of those as best we can, but the main focus very much is on World Tour. Martin Tsao and Andy Yan did a really good job, the 2 local drivers yesterday that got themselves into the top 12 that progressed to Q2. It was a challenging Q2 for Marco Butti, who crashed early on, and his car was then clipped by Dusan Bošović and also by Esteban Guerrieri. That's why he picked up a little bit of damage, because they just had to make their own gap really, sort of barge through. It was almost stock car-esque, not deliberate, but the car bounced onto the road, and there was just about a Honda's gap when they'd been through it. The rest of the field, though, ready to go. There is the Honda number 62 from Goat Racing, Pepe Oriola's team of Dusan Bošović, and the grid now being cleared. It is going to be a 10-lap race. There will be 1 formation lap to get some warmth into the Kumho rubber on which they run. the officials clearing the grid of everybody, who would then make their way down to the pit lane and hope, with everything crossed, that there is going to be nothing now that they need to worry about in terms of repairs, and we have a clean race without interruption of safety car. Pole position then is Ted Björk. Mikkel Ashkener is with him at the front of the grid. Third on the grid, Jan Erlache, and then Norbert Mikelic lining up fourth. It is Nestor Girolami fifth, ahead of Esteban Guerrieri. Seventh is Ma Xinghua, and then eighth Martin Tsao. Ninth on the grid, Andy Yan, and 10th Dusan Bukovic, with David Zhu being 11th and 12th Marco Butti. They were the ones that came into Q2. 13th is Jason Zhang, ahead of Zhang Zhendong. Rob Huff only 15th, ahead of Martin Shi, and then John Filippi with Rainy Hearn next. Sunny Wang 19th, ahead of Juan Carlos Zhu. Max Hart starts 21st from Jamie Lai, Huang Goyun, and Li Guanghua. Then Gary Kwok is 25th, 26th Hugh Heng from Wu Yifan, Lo Se-hei, Benny Santosa, and Dipo Fitramadhan. Then Mansu Ming, and at the very back of a 32-strong grid, yes indeed, 32, Santiago Urrutia, who is just round the back corner, waiting for the indication that he can set off on this final formation lap. It's a very busy grid. It's going to be a really edgy race, this, and if we get through without incident, I would be amazed.
We've got top touring car drivers in the world here at Macau, and if you bear in mind that this is a 6.1-kilometre circuit which has everything, amazingly quick bends, curves, if you like, amazingly quick straights, and then very tight, twisty, and incredibly slow hairpins. You've got everything here, and with the best tip-top drivers in the world competing, they go to spaces that you really don't think exist, and sometimes, just sometimes, it works.
It's a place where racecraft comes to the fore. Bear in mind, they've been to Vallelunga, purpose-built race circuit. They've been to Marrakesh street circuit, mid-Ohio, then to Interlagos, to El Pinar, and then to Zhuzhou. So this is, again, a very different sort of circuit. The World Tour this year, 14 races, and although it's the second year of the World Tour, it is the first year that it carries an FIA badge. So illustrative of how the World Tour, which has been born out of the World Touring Car Championship and the WTCR Cup, just how strong it has been, how important it is to the FIA that it's been given that FIA tag. And we'll see at the end of race one how this is affecting the championship that you can see on screen at the moment. That is the view out of the front of Ted Björk's Lincoln Co. And picking up his pace as he works his way through, if you like, the mountain section of the circuit, that steep climb up San Francisco Hill, through Maternity, through Teddy Yip Corner, the Solitude S's, but do not expect it to be totally follow my leader through this part of the track, as we've seen, and Alan's touched on it in years past. You can overtake around there if you are really brave.
They have done, and you breathe in, you then finally allow yourself to breathe again, because sometimes it happens.
And the car breathes in as well, doesn't it? You can almost see it happen. Aboard number 186 is Esteban Guerrieri, then now down to third in the championship. He's got 20 kilos of compensation weight, just to tally off who's got what in terms of World Tour. We have Ted Björk with 10 kilos, Santiago Urrutia at the very back and with 40, so he really is up against it. Jan Erlache has 30 kilos, Esteban Guerrieri 20, Mikkel Ashken at 30, and that's based on the results over the previous weekend rather than a championship position. So, on board with Norbert Mikelic. Has he got a problem, or is he just going slowly in the traffic? Slowly in the traffic, I think. But one or two nervous faces, because they all know they need their drivers to get through this safely now and to bank as many points as we can. Norbert Mikelic leads Ted Björk by 10 points after qualifying yesterday in the championship, as out of the Melco hairpin and down through Black Sands they come.
Yep, weaving the cars from side to side. Bear in mind that we have a dry circuit. We take that for granted here at Macau, because year after year it's very hot, it's always very humid. Generally we get sunshine and blue skies, maybe some days it's a little overcast, but normally it's dry. Not so this weekend so far. Today is a fully dry circuit, and they can really get these cars working properly, heat into the tyres, driving as touring car drivers want to do, and that's using the cars to the absolute maximum around such a demanding test over 6.1 kilometres of the gear circuit here at Macau. Look at this, the weaving, 4 lanes in normal Macau life, and you can use all of the tarmac to get as much heat into those tyres as you possibly can.
So Ted Björk, the 2017 World Touring Car Champion, the 2006 Swedish Touring Car Champion, 3 times a Scandinavian Touring Car Champion, and also the FIA Sports Car Champion from the SR2 division as well. Former single-seater racer, then he went sports cars, then to touring cars, in which he made a very successful career for himself. He lines up on pole position then with Mikael Ashkener, who was the 2021 TCR Europe champion. He was the 2022 WTCR Cup winner, and as you've been hearing, had that first tour win of the season, this season, at Zhuzhou last month. He will line up second on the grid, ahead then of Jan Erlechet, who comes from good racing stock, uncle being Ivan Muller, his mum being Cathy Muller, who raced here in Formula 3. He was a French Super Tourism champion, WTCR champion and the Cup champion as well. He's raced TCR all over the globe. Father a professional footballer as well, just to finish off the sporting attributes of the Erlechet Muller family. And he slots into place third ahead of the reigning champion Norbert Mikelish fourth. Gabriele Tarquini nearest the camera then. Spectacles on head as he looks at the timing screen, looks at the data, looks at the television feed as well. And the last few cars trickle into place. Standing start, 1 by 1 grid as we get set for race 1 of the weekend. The qualifying race, because it's going to affect how the grid will line up for tomorrow's gear race. But for the purposes of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour, is a fully point-scoring event. And that means this really matters.
Last few cars come into place. The engine notes very soon will rise, and we'll get this race, this qualification race, over 10 laps around the gear circuit here at Macau underway. Tensions rise, and as what a beautiful sight that makes as they are lined up, getting ready to start their first race of the weekend. Last few cars just in the back of your picture come into place, and we'll get the lights coming on, the engine notes rise, they will go out any moment now, and we'll get the race underway. Good start by Ted Björk, good start by Ashkener as well, and Jan Erlechet is going to be side by side as they head down towards what is the very, very fast run towards, and already we've got a wheel off, we've got a tyre off, we've got debris.
We had one of the Mexicos that did not get away and was then hit from behind. So drama from the start as Ted Björk leads the way. The rest of the field battle through. I rather think we're going to end up with an interruption. We get a couple of battered cars off the road as they come down towards Lisboa. For the first time, Ted Björk trying to make good his escape. He's under attack then. Mikael Ashkener to the outside line. He's not going to get through there. And it's the last of the late breakers. Ashkener is out wide, but he makes the corner as others do not. At the escape road there, tries to go out. I think Guerrieri. Others have to slow right down and limp through. But Björk hangs on to the advantage. That could have been a whole lot worse getting through Lisboa for the first time. They make it. And no, they don't, because at San Francisco, mayhem has broken out. The track is blocked. There's been more contact up the road. And Guerrieri's Honda, I think, is at the front of that, isn't it? Facing at 90 degrees to the traffic. Esteban Guerrieri has gone nose into the wall. Nobody else can get through, and the red flag is out. The race is being suspended on lap 1 in Macau.
Not surprisingly as well, because just count the cars. It's not surprising that the teams were looking slightly puzzled at what was going on there. They couldn't even see if their car was involved down there.
No.
And not least, some cars are held up. Some cars are quite badly damaged.
Let's just tick off the first incident. It was Marcin Hua that didn't get away on the grid, and most people got round him. He was, as you can see, clipped on the left rear corner, and so that's him done. So Marcin Hua is out of the race. And then...
out of the car as well, I think.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. He'll be walking to the pit lane. But then we got them through San Francisco. Gary Kwok's car was the one that hit him, so that's the other one that needs retrieving. So that was one incident that was always going to need looking at. And then we got them to, turn 4, San Francisco. And it's all kicked off there. Possibly Guerrieri having, of course, been up the escape road, having gone out wide at turn 3 at Lisboa, coming back online and then being tagged and turned sideways.
So many of us would arrive at this scene and think, right, where do we start? But they will do this incredibly quickly. Doctors going around to make sure that everyone is okay, and that being the most important job. But, you know, they've seen just about every kind of incident here, the officials and the track workers, the marshals, and they will know, piece by piece, we can get the cars apart, we can recover them to the paddock or to the pit lane, they can get back and restart the race. It is incredible. It looks, when you look on the screen, like an impossible and very long recovery from a situation like this. But I think it's fair to say these marshals are absolutely the best in the world for this incident. And look, it doesn't take long. You get the cork out of the bottle and the rest of the field can begin to make their way around.
Somebody has got somebody else's bodywork by the look of it. Somebody's bonnet stuck at the front. Guerrieri's car looks like that is not going to be able to get going. So the field getting through, now that the road opens up, drivers setting off, liquid spilt on the circuit being attended to as well. Which is the car that's further up the road? That's one of the Volcano cars, isn't it? That's either John Filippi or Rob Huff that's got involved in that.
I didn't see which one it was.
Yeah, Huff was ahead on the grid, albeit only by a row, but one of those, it must be Filippi, I think, because he's not got through the 4th sector, whereas Huff has. So I think John Filippi, Esteban Guerrieri are certainly two. You can see Filippi at the top of the picture. Guerrieri's car is the one facing the wrong way. So from that, this is the incident off the start line that's being attended to. We shall await news as to whether we go from the grid, from the original grid, or whether we go from the order as it is from the pit lane. But we'll try and piece it all together. Let's have a look at some of the replays of that dramatic first lap. So this is down to Lisboa. Ted Bjork fending off Mikael Ashkener, Norbert Mikelish third. And then look, Guerrieri on the brakes too late, goes wide, forces the Lincoln Co out with him. Others get up the escape road, and look, yeah, there's contact there, and that's what turns Guerrieri around. He actually spins in the middle of the pack, and then there's just nowhere to go on the inside. Some try and go through to the right and succeed. Others can't quite get to the gap in time, and all of a sudden the road is blocked. Here it is from another angle. Look left, because in a minute Guerrieri's going to get speared across the road. There he is. Bounces off cars, takes one of the Hyundais for a ride, doesn't he? And that could have done some damage there. And others pile in, and the road is blocked because you've got another of the Hyundai Elantras that gets turned sideways and blocks the road.
And it was actually, when you look at the replay, only 2 cars that effectively blocked the whole of the circuit. It just happened to be at 90 degrees to the barriers, and that's how wide the track is on that run down towards San Francisco Hill. But it's Huppy that's made his way back to the pit lane with a bit of damage on the right front of the car.
Drivers getting out of the cars because they might as well get some fresh air, or fresh-ish air. And Rob Huff goes and has a word with the team, and also with Dusan Borkovic.
I touched you because I think it was you were behind Goofy. I'm not sure. Because there was 3 in front, Ernash out wide. I was behind you. You went right.
Rob Huff apologising for the contact and explaining why there was the contact, because basically everyone was going for the same bit of real estate. So Rob Huff goes back to the car and, anticipating a long wait, he's going to take off his crash helmet and get some fresh air. And there is the operation for the clean-up. Now, which is the other car with its back to us? It is 50-something that's been delayed or eliminated. Trying to identify who it is, but we'll hopefully come to that. 51 maybe, which would be the car of Wu Fan. Right, so there's more damage done to Guerrieri's car than perhaps first expected. That's going to need extricating. 56, Benny Santoso got involved in that. It was his own bonnet rather than somebody else's, but in the incident it's peeled it back like a tin can, so he's arrived in the pit lane with that car looking decidedly strange. We'll see that in the pits in a moment.
Teams are going to be pretty busy now, and wondering how long it's going to take for this recovery out on the circuit.
So have a look at the start first of all. Look to the left of the screen, so from where the blue car is on pole position, because you'll see marshalling hard does not go. He either stalls it or has a breakage, and most get past him, and then bang! Oh. That was Gary Kwok into the back, and he hits the barrier, and that's where that's where Santoso's car picks up the damage. Look, you suddenly see the bonnet peel back like a tin can. He carries on, so it wasn't in the Lisboa incident, which is this one. Very, very tight for the race lead, wasn't it? Bjork and Ashkener. Guerrieri wide up the escape road. Jan Elishe goes with him. And then Huff gets into the back of Guerrieri and Borkovic. And that's where Guerrieri gets turned around. So Huff and Borkovic getting themselves together, and Guerrieri right in the way kind of thing. Ended up being given a little tap and turned around as well. replay on board with Guerrieri. And this, Alan, is going to be fascinating because after 3 corners, his world is going to change direction.
Certainly will, and it's always a bit of a boisterous opening lap for the touring cars. That's very much the nature, and as we ride on board, we're going to get a grandstand view of exactly what went on. This is the run down towards this classic overtaking place at Lisboa, the right-hander named after the Grand Lisboa, the very colourful hotel. It's unique as well, nothing like it anywhere in the world. Over to the left-hand side on the run down towards Lisboa they go. So look down on the inside, and then, yeah, straight on. You are only able to see the barrier on the outside, and then that tap right the way around you go, 360 degrees almost, but only looking at the barrier.
Right, so liquid to be soaked up, and the road is almost clear of cars, but it was Wui Fan's car that needed to be retrieved as well. Right, let's hear the thoughts of 1 or 2 of the drivers while we have this red flag. Let's rejoin Lisa Leyland.
Well, as we just saw there, another dramatic start here in Macau. We barely got a lap in. Let's speak to Dusan, let's speak to Rob. Dusan, how was it from your seat? I mean, it's just pretty much chaos out there at the moment, isn't it?
From my side, I was, luckily I had the 3 positions dropped to the back. Then I was not in that mess. So I saw like Esteban, Marco, like a snooker for Martinez, how it looks one there, and then somehow I passed. Rob had a brilliant start. I never saw such a good start. Also in Jojo, what the name of the last race, he had a brilliant start. I had some issue with the sensor for fuel pump, but I know if they are going to solve that, but we'll see. Luckily, we are all of us are okay, but I feel bad for Esteban because he's a title contender, but this is Macau, and this is I don't have much experience that he has, but always we have some problems here.
But Dusan, just picking up on what you said about Esteban, GOAT Racing, it was a tough day yesterday at the office for you guys with Marco. Now Esteban, in terms of that title, it's not looking good.
It looks bad for now, but I repeat, this is Macau. We have a race to do. I think that we will do a race now. Yeah. And then tomorrow is still a race, so everything can happen also tomorrow. So never give up before the really end. Like when the judge says it's the end, then it's the end.
Absolutely. Thank you for chatting to us, Dusan. Let's move on to Rob Huff here. Rob, Dusan just said that you had a fantastic start, and in all fairness, you did need it because it was a tough qualifying session for you yesterday. How was it from your seat, and did you see anything from in the car?
I mean, obviously got a good start. I was back in 15th, so managed just to get flat around the outside of turn 1 and got a really good run through Mandarin. Then there was quite a bit of a gap to the guys in front. Arriving at Mandarin, at Lisboa, Erlasher was out a little bit, whether he outbraked himself or got pushed, I don't know, but he was quite wide. And then when I arrived there was Erlasher and 2 Hondas, and 3 into that space doesn't go. I tried to stay on the inside behind one of the Hondas, and then whoever was the Honda in the middle kept coming right and just went across the front of the other Honda. So that spun them round. Luckily, they stayed right. I managed to get left and get through, but we got a bit of damage on the front right from where they were all trying to get out of it. But you know, going into Lisboa, 3 abreast doesn't work. We know that for many years.
Rob, like you said, you know it for many years. You're a multiple winner here at Macau. You know the track, I can say it like the back of your hand. Is it fair to say it's not all about the speed out there? You just got to manage your expectations, you've got to manage the expectations of the car and also respect the racetrack?
Yeah, 100%. And exactly as you say, Macau, a lot of it is respecting the racetrack and each other, you know, and you know, the certainly 2 of the 3 guys that went in 3 abreast into Lisboa know that it's not possible. So you've just got to eliminate yourself from a situation like that, essentially. And of course, you know, it's never that simple when you're in the moment, but rather lose 2 or 3 places than DNF. So,
okay. Thank you for chatting to us, Rob. Best of luck for the rest of the race. Time for commentary.
So good to hear from them down in pit lane. Thanks, Lisa, as the teams continue to do their final work to make sure the cars are strapped up and ready to take the restart. Quite a bit of damage inflicted on the various incidents that took place on the first time of asking. The sunshine has just come out here at Macau. That means the temperature rises as well. A chance also for drivers to bring their own perspectives of what went on during that first time of asking for the race to get underway, and talk to the teams and also get a bit of air as well. It was notable how many of them instantly wanted to get out of the car, take off the helmets and get a bit of air around their race suits as well, because it's not necessarily when they're driving, when they've got the adrenaline running and a bit of airflow around the car, they don't necessarily notice quite how warm it is today. Right, let's have another look at the start of the race. I was focusing on the front couple of rows of the grid, and it was Jan Elachet that really rather missed out on this first time of asking. That's the first incident that we had, how high that wheel went, and the catch fencing here at Macau incredibly high to protect the crowds and the course workers around the field, and they do every year an incredibly good job of keeping everybody nice and safe. But that's such a horrible feeling with Marcin Huil's car not getting off the line and just waiting for the bang, and inevitably it came. So too did this as they go down towards Lisboa, the top two. So lucky was Ashkana to just be able to squeeze the car through. The rest of the field not so much. And then the incident on the run towards San Francisco Hill that caused the first of our stoppages. There we go. It's a look back at the start of the race. Another view, that's looking back from San Francisco Hill, which is quite a climb onto, if you like, the second part of the gear circuit here at Macau, where it gets altogether a lot tighter. And then the onboard shot of what happened for the first time of asking. It's always a bit inevitable, David, here when you've got these such vital races here at Macau. It's a tight circuit, incidents always happen, but you've got multiple championships to be decided as well. There is a lot at stake.
And cold tyres on the first lap, and. The first sector of the lap you are within at the moment on the way down to Lisboa, and the order for the restart or the resumption of the race will be taken from the timing point in that first sector. Obviously, you then have to take, as you see in replay, him going deep into the escape road, Esteban Guerrieri out of that because the car's not going to take the restart because of this. Bang! He got turned around. Borkovic hit him, others hit him. So Guerrieri will not take the restart, nor by the look of it will Wui Fan. But we do have a restart order based on how they cross the beam in sector 1. And that means it's going to be Ted Bjork ahead of Mikkel Ashkana. In third place, it's going to be Norbert Mikelish. In fourth place would have been Guerrieri, but that's going to elevate now Jan Elachet ahead of the car behind him, Nestor Girolami. Although Girolami, yes, came into the pits fourth. That was because others, of course, ahead of him after the end of the first sector, got themselves in a bit of bother. So the order is going to be put right in the pit lane, but it is Ted Bjork continuing in the lead, effectively. That's the easy part of all of this. Once we get underway, we haven't yet had a restart time or a resumption time,
which is good news for some of the teams because they continue to work on the cars to patch them up and get them ready to take the restart. So you can see how much fluid has been dealt with down there on the run between Lisboa and San Francisco as well. Sunshine looks down on Macau, and I reckon this is the first time that we have had over 2.5 days here at Macau for 2024. The first time we've had proper sunshine. The view out of the commentary box here, looking over on the water and the colours of the paddock, it just looks normal Macau. Now, normal service resumed. We've had a wet track for 2 days here at Macau. We've had wind, we've had rain, but now we've got the crowds and sunshine of Macau. And boy, are they expectant for the afternoon's action.
And not only do we talk about happy drivers here, we always talk about happy fans and patient fans as well, because yes, they want to watch racing, but here we are with a race interruption. Now there is the Hyundai of Nestor Girolami having some attention done to it. Now that's interesting because Girolami's car was fourth at the end of the lap. It was a little bit lower down than that on the end of the first sector, but is all well. I don't think it picked up damage, but there's certainly something there that the team is grateful for this red flag for. They can go to work. The same being true also lower down the order of Sonny Wong's Link & Co.
Quite a few of them, I think, grateful that they can work on this.
Let's just grab a few words with our current points leader, Norby Michelis. Norby, excuse me, he's actually talking to Mikel Azcona. It'll be interesting to see what he's actually saying to him. But let's try and hear what he's actually saying. I will ask him, but it looks like they're quite deep in conversation. I mean, of course, there's a lot to talk about. No problem at all, Norby. Of course, you've got a lot to talk about. That was a dramatic first lap. How was it? I say first lap, it wasn't even a lap. How was it from your seat?
My start was good. I was immediately alongside Jan. Then wasn't easy because he was closing the gap coming to Mandarin. But I managed to keep the inside braking for Lisboa. And not sure really what happened because I just received the notification of a red flag.
Norby, what were you just saying to your teammate Mikel there?
We were just discussing the best possible line because now it's a safety car restart. The blue cars on the straight are incredibly fast and it will be quite tricky to keep Jan behind. Yeah. So I was just asking advice from Mikel what he would do in my position.
Okay, and just finally, let's just quickly talk about your championship. You came in with a 10-point lead. After qualifying, you still had a 10-point lead, which is a fantastic place to be in considering yesterday's session. It's so unpredictable here, isn't it? I mean, that's not a lot, is it?
Yeah, I prefer not to talk about the championship because as you can see today, you can make plans and most of the time it comes in a different way. So for me, I try to focus on what I can do today in the race, not to do mistakes, collect the points which are on the table, and I have the feeling that anything will be decided anyway tomorrow. So in the end, focus has to be on the race today, not thinking about the championship.
Absolutely. Okay, I agree with that. It's not over till it's over. Back to commentary.
Lisa, thanks. Just out of our window, we can see some of the wrecks that have been returned, and there's a lot of front damage to both John Filippi's car. I think we'll identify that at the top of the picture at San Francisco, and Wu Yifan. Lots of front damage. I'm therefore looking for a car with rear damage because I don't think it was the barriers that did for Wu Yifan, but he's obviously gone into something or somebody. But that's the car that's leaked all the liquid out of the bottom. And so for the restart, no Guerrieri, no Filippi, no Wu Yifan, certainly no Gary Kwok, nor Marcin Kwa, because they never even got to turn one, never mind the first timing point.
I totally get what Norbert Michelis just said to Lisa down there, chatting away down in the pit lane. I don't want to talk about the championship points. They've got a lot to think about. Let's not worry about championship points. Let's do the best we can do.
Sure.
And you can only do what you can do, and let everything else pan out behind you, around you, and then see what we get at the end.
Let's grab a few words now with Santi Urrutia. Of course, he started, not to rub it in, but right at the back because of yesterday's qualifying session. But honestly, from that first lap, that's probably where you wanted to be because you managed to stay out of the trouble in the start.
Yeah. I did the start and then I saw debrief already in the straight, so I brake. And then I just let everyone go, and then I got stuck between T3 and T4. Just the road was, completely blocked. But yeah, I mean, now let's see. It seems like we're starting under safety car, so it's not a standing start. But I'm way at the back, so I mean, this is Macau, if someone crashes in the front, then just the road gets blocked. So I just hope for the best and to do a clean race.
Santi, like you mentioned, you are way at the back. You are carrying that extra weight as well. It is Macau. There's so much thrown your way during a session. What is your frame of mind coming into this race this morning? I mean, you can say, oh, no, it's going to be a tough day, but then it is not over until it's over. You don't know what's going to happen out there.
Exactly. I mean, Macau is Macau, so I want to have fun as well. I want to move positions. I want to go forward. So as many positions I can get will be a good thing for the championship. But to have a good car for tomorrow as well is the principal thing. So sometimes you cannot control if you had a crash in front and then again the track get blocked. But we'll see how it goes. I think at the front, you know, they are fighting for the championship. They will be quite aggressive. I have some local guys as well in the front, so let's see.
Best of luck. Thank you for chatting to us, Santi Urrutia there. Back to commentary.
Now, the list of people that aren't taking the restart, Lisa, is getting larger and longer. I think we'd already identified there was no Ma Xuing-Pa. There's no Gary Kwok either in number 11. He won't be taking the restart. Nor will Guerrieri. We've covered that. No Wu Fan, I think we knew that. Jamie Lai also, number 52, is not going to take the restart, so he got some damage. Andy Yan, which is a real shame because he was well placed on the grid, so we lose Andy Yan. And also Max Hart. Now that makes me wonder whether there was another incident. It must have been more cars that got embroiled within it, but I haven't spotted Andy Yan or Max Hart. Oh no, Andy Yan's was the Hyundai that got turned around, wasn't it, at the front of the queue. I said there was another car blocking the track. That was Andy Yan. Max Hart must have just gone piling into the back of it. But that's bad news for Max in terms of his TCR Asia hopes.
How many track workers are all busy making sure that the fluid down on the track on the run towards San Francisco is dealt with as quickly and as efficiently as possible. I don't know the figure of how many marshals there are around the circuit. It's a long circuit. Stoppages require a lot of work, inevitably, but there must be hundreds of marshals that are so very, very well trained to deal with all the incidents we have to deal with around the circuit. And a bit of barrier work required as well. That's not the work of a moment, is it?
No, I'm confused as to why we're being told Andy Yan and Max Hart aren't starting, because Andy Yan was 9th into the pit lane and Max Hart was 16th, so I would suggest that they might be able to go back out. Max Hart's car, I can see, is having work done on it, but at least it came back at the end of the first lap, so question mark over those two, I would have thought, rather than a definitive non-start. If anybody's got damage that might be of a real problem, it would be Benny Santoso's car, which, as we saw, had all the damage at the front. Not a great day for Goat Racing again. Let's hear from team owner Pepe Oriola.
So it was a tough day yesterday in the qualifying session for Goat Racing, and again, that first lap proved to be even tougher. Can you give us an update? I know Esteban's not actually doing the restart, is he?
Well, Esteban went for it. We knew that with the difference of points and seeing Norby already up to P3, he had to dive into Lisboa. Fortunately, he went wide by a few meters, and then on the rejoining, I don't think he saw that Marco was coming, and they crashed into each other. But it's a shame. The dream is over for us. It's still Macau. You never know. Tomorrow we start in the reverse grid with Esteban. But now we are here like waiting for a miracle, like in the casino.
Well, this is the thing. That was my next question. You were in the championship fight with Esteban. He came in with a 14-point off the lead. I can say it's not over until it's over, but let's be realistic. This does not look good, does it?
Yeah, I mean, since yesterday qualifying, that we didn't qualify already in front of Michelis, it was a bit uphill. I think it was a bit harder for us that we didn't get to try the car, or Esteban feeling in the dry conditions. He didn't race here in the last 3-4 years, and the other guys did. So we missed a bit of performance in qualifying. So today it made us took a bit more of a risk that we should. But we were playing for the World Championship as a first year of the team, and you have to go for it. I prefer that my drivers go for the chances, like he did the whole year, than be there saying like, if I would have tried.
Exactly.
So nothing. Great job by Esteban the whole year. I cannot be more proud from him, from the whole team. The guys made an amazing job preparing the car for Marcos. And now let's see tomorrow if he can manage to get a win and live with a nice taste of the championship. But still, let's not forget it's our first year, and we will be back stronger.
Thank you, Pepe. Thanks for chatting to us on a lucky day for Goat Racing yet again. Back to commentary.
Lisa, thanks very much. So lots of teams taking this opportunity to effect some repairs, might be running repairs on the cars, but the teams are going to have a lot of work overnight. Volcano Racing, Goat Racing, Cyan Racing, have all got cars with serious amounts of damage. Others are being worked on in the pit lane. The Macau racing team have got to sort out Gary Kwok's car, and drivers getting ready. We understand the barrier damage and the other repairs and the track sweeping and clearance is almost done. And once that is done, then there'll be a sort of countdown time for the resumption of the race. Well, there you can see, bravo to everybody involved. The circuit is clear. You can see all the witness marks on the road where people hit the brakes or hit somebody else, and in the ensuing melee, cars got whacked around. So it is going to be a rather smaller number that we have ready to go back out. Those that are being worked on rather than are in the line are Benny Santoso's car, Max Hart's car I can see. And if that mechanic had just moved left, there he is, good, he's moved. I think also Martin Shee's Honda Civic from the Macro team. Others, though, have time to pose for a photograph.
Well, he's a star of Macau, isn't he? What a star he is. Rob Huff with so many wins in touring cars here at Macau, known as a master around the streets of Macau. So much so, he has a Madame Tussauds made waxwork of himself.
He's here all year round, isn't he?
So I had the weirdest experience in the museum last year, because I was looking at Huffy's waxwork, never seen it before.
Yes.
And someone called out my nickname behind me, so I turned around and it was the real-life Huffy just behind me, and it was the most bizarre moment.
I do think the waxwork one looks a fraction younger. Might be wrong, might be wrong. Rob, fair play to him, also made sure that the waxwork carried a BRDC shield on it as well. Now, this is looking back at the start from Ted Björk's car. So he makes a very good getaway. Incidentally, we're into the 10-minute countdown before the resumption of the race. And Martin Shee looks as though he is unlikely to start as well. That's another car being worked on into this 10-minute period. So you're on board with Björk. You've got behind the cars of Ashkiner and Mikulic. Now, Mikulic comes under attack, doesn't he, from Jan Erleche. Now, we heard from Rob Huff about how Erleche had gone wide, and we'll see in a moment exactly why. So this is where the toe kicks in. This is Ashkiner trying to find a way through. He's in the draft of Björk's Link & Co. He goes to the outside line, but that doesn't work. But it does force Björk to break late as well, so they scrabble into the corner. Guerrieri tried a very tight inside line. That didn't work. He went out wide up the escape road, took Erleche with him, and then as they climbed the hill, it's all quite serene for Ted Björk, but for everybody else behind, rather less so.
Ashkiner was very, very lucky there. There was a centimetre, wasn't there, turning through Lisboa.
Ted Björk, he's very relaxed about this. Paul Ridgway, his engineer, in the headset, offering thoughts and guidance on how they're going to treat the restart. Paul, who has been there, done it, got the T-shirt, and comes back for more every year. Great touring car enthusiast for many, many years, had his own team, but now doesn't have all that hassle. Instead, he can just go where life takes him and be a very successful race engineer, not only in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour, but also in the British Touring Car Championship when the calendars don't clash. He's been a mainstay of that paddock for a number of years.
I first met him around the BTCC many years ago when Rob Collard was running a little production saloon, Renault Clio, and running under his own banner in Collard Racing. He's a British GT champion this year, is Rob Collard, and that's where Paul Ridgway, where I first came into touch with him, and since then, wow, what a glittering career.
I think it was Mardi Gras Motorsport, wasn't it, that Paul Ridgway was involved in for a time, but that's going back quite a long time ago. Let's see whether it's going to be another race win for him. Let's see if we can catch up with Marco Butti next. Lisa is in the pits.
Sorry.
Let's grab a few words now with Goat Racing's Marco Butti. Obviously, we saw him have quite a big impact yesterday in the qualifying session. Marco, firstly, just tell us how you're feeling and what actually happened from your seat yesterday in the qualifying.
Yeah, we had a big crash yesterday in Q2, but we ran very, very fast. But now I'm a bit lost because the crash is big. But yeah, now my main problem is my mate Esteban Guerrieri, my friend, the most friend I have there in this circus is out of the fighting championship. We had a crash, like a collision, a race collision. We don't have nothing to do. Yeah, I'm not, feeling good.
Yeah, I can imagine. And of course, we've spoken to your team manager. It's a difficult weekend for Honda. It's a difficult weekend for Goat Racing. Where do we go from here? We still got to finish this race. We still got the last race of the season tomorrow. Just have to do your best out there and try and keep motivated.
Yeah, we have to try to do our best, but yeah, not easy because the mind is in another. But okay, let's try. Let's see. We start now P8, so we recover a lot of position in the first lap. I mean, in the first sector. And yeah, let's see. We have the speed, so.
Absolutely. Best of luck, Marco. Back to commentary.
Good shout that to get to Marco Butti. Booty call, I think that, to go and talk to the man that was involved in a big off yesterday when he did a lot of damage to the Honda, Alan.
Indeed, and good to hear all the interviews that Lisa is bringing us during this interruption that we've got in our second race of the day here for Macau 2024. Sunshine glints down on the water which surrounds the gear circuit here at Macau, and also adds to the humidity that we have here at Macau. It is a very, very warm day. So spare a thought for the drivers that are sat in the cars.
Also spare a thought for one of the scrutineers who's just legged it up the pit straight, and the chief marshal on the start and finish line has been waving at him to slow down. You know, you don't need to be off the track. We've got a good few minutes yet. Calm, calm,
it's fine.
Calm.
Yeah, just relax.
It'll be right. Anyway, the race will resume in 5 minutes' time. So it's been a long interruption. We have had the cars into the pits. They've notionally done a lap. The order in the pit lane is being sorted. As I say, we've had a question mark over Max Hart's car. It came back to the pit lane, but I'm told isn't going to rejoin. And Benny Santoso's car also looks unlikely to restart. So there's going to be a little bit of deliberation as to who does start and does not. Right, how are Lincoln Co faring at the moment? Lisa can find out for us.
So we have around 5 minutes left before the restart, but let's grab a few words with Frederick Varland, team manager from Lincoln Co Zion Racing. Frederick, I mean, we barely got a lap in there, and it is a game changer. Just that half a lap is a game changer in the championship. Esteban Guerreri is looking like it's over for him. From a team manager's perspective, and Ted just being 10 points off the lead, how are you feeling, and what's the strategy from here?
Yeah, the start was definitely not what we wanted. Really sorry for Ma that couldn't get away. I mean, he's well, that's the main thing, but yeah, we were really hoping to have 3 blue cars in the top 6 by now, and so it's a game changer for sure. Now we just need to get the head down and see that we can finish this race, and hopefully we have no more red flags like this. So.
Yeah, and of course, is Ma okay? Obviously, he's not doing the restart, and I guess still a lot of work for the team overnight as well.
Yeah, first we need to see if the car even is repairable. It was a really hard hit. Now we just focus on this race, and then we take the problems afterwards. So.
Best of luck. Okay, Frederick Varland there from Lincoln Co Zion Racing. Almost ready for a restart. It's back to commentary.
And the final 5 minutes of the countdown are almost at an end now. Race order will be Ted Bjork reminding you ahead of Mikkel Ashkana, and then it's going to be Norbert Mikkeler third. Fourth would have been Esteban Guerreri, but he's not going to take the restart now, so that is going to elevate Jan Erlascher up ahead of him, or up ahead of the rest of them really, to fill that void. So the cars are going to be put in the order in the pit lane, released from there. Max Hart, we understand, won't start. We haven't had confirmation, but Benny Santoso's car is still being worked on, and there are lots of the scrutineers standing there. And when a scrutineer stands at the front of the car and stares, it's never a really encouraging feeling. So I would rather fear that after the damage that he picked up leaving the grid, remember in the Marshwing-Gary Kwok accident, Santoso's car is going to be hors de combat as well. So it will be possibly getting on for about 10 cars fewer when we resume this race.
Yeah, with multiple incidents taking place. That was quite a damaging first time of asking to get the first race of the weekend, the 10-lap race for the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour event of Macau, and the Macau gear race underway. There's someone that's seen pretty much everything in touring cars that there is to see at Macau. Gabriele Tarquini, still a huge figure in touring cars around the world, in motorsport around the world, and one of the most interesting guys to talk to about motor racing, and just a lovely character as well. So busy, taking every role that he does in touring cars, be it driving or running a team as well. Takes it absolutely as his lifetime purpose. It's across everything, isn't it?
He is. I think I'm right in saying his first ever race win in anything came in the British Touring Car Championship. He got to Formula One briefly, but without ever having had a race win, just because the machinery he was always in was never that good, but he was able to do a deal here and get a drive there. But when he really all through touring cars, winning the championship in the UK 1994, the reputation really sparked. He remains a great character and a great part of the paddock.
And a true Italian Always responsible, his garage, for the waft of coffee beans from the start of a touring car weekend. You could always trace it down to Gabrielli, and he was always very happy to offer a nice espresso.
And Malcolm Swettenham, who was involved in his Honda days in the British Touring Car Championship, will tell the story about how the espresso machine had to be specific and it had to be set
Yes.
for, because at the opening round of the championship, Gabrielli was unamused by the coffee on offer and said, "This is what we need." I think I'm right in saying that somebody was dispatched from the paddock to go and attend to the coffee machine.
Quite right too.
Indeed, he's our kind of bloke.
Priorities.
We are almost good to go. Thanks for your patience, everybody. Rob Huff's car sits in the queue. The officials have had the restart order issued by the FIA, by race control. As I say, there will be a fair few extra spectators now rather than being in the race, but in a moment or two we will go green and get the race back underway. The safety car restart is now on and the cars leave the pit lane.
So down pit lane they go then. They thread their way out back onto the gear circuit here in Macau under the sunshine, and as we get the cars that will be taking the restart making their way carefully down pit lane, we look at that multiple winner Rob Huff in the Volcano car making its way onto track. They continue to thread their way down, and we can see the world's presser here as well. Instantly going to work Ted Bjork to weave the car as much as he can. You can see the focus behind the wheel of the car, not to make any kind of mistake. Easy to make a mistake when you're weaving the car from side to side to get heat into the tyres. They've cooled down a fair bit. The temperature is now helping. Getting heat into the tyres has not really been that much of a worry so far in the last couple of days, dealing with wet tyres and damp circuits, greasy circuits. So, second time of asking now as they head through Lisboa, past the area of greatest incidents for the first time of asking, and up towards the right-hander at San Francisco. Because the cars have been released from pit lane, they're all a bit strung out now, aren't they?
Yes, just to confirm, Martin Tsao has not left the pit, so he's not starting, so that's bad news for his TCR China hopes. Max Hart hasn't gone back out, nor has Marco Butti either. So we've lost seemingly number 199 Marco Butti. Rainey Herr hasn't gone out, number 2. So that car is still shown as being at pit in, and we just saw also being moved 72 of Juan Carlos Zhu. So there are quite a number not being able to take the resumption of the race. We've given you most, but even as we see the cars going out, there are more to add to that list.
They're going to be working away on the cars between now and tomorrow, of course. And we may well have a number of cars not taking this resumption of the race, but we could potentially have them for the second race of the weekend, the Macau gear race, which is the big one as far as the one-off event here at Macau is concerned. To etch your name on the trophy for the Macau gear race is something very special. The greats of touring cars are on that trophy, some of them more than once.
True enough, and to win around here, it's quite something. Of course, in the old days, it was a sort of opened category. It was a non-championship race for touring cars. As Group A became popular, it evolved to catch those cars from around the world. But now, although TCR is common, it is a round of championships, specific championships. And as you see, WTCR, TCR China, TCR Asia making a really full grid. And some people might say, well, too full, you know, bringing the extra drivers in, except it's, of course, an incident out of the World Tour drivers at the front that rather triggered it, sad to say, and has cost Esteban Guerrieri the chance of a championship.
So they continue to thread their way around the circuits, and the tight and twisty nature of the gear circuit here at Macau test the drivers not only in race conditions but also behind the safety car as well, because when you come up towards the Melco hairpin there is no room at all for mistake, and we have seen cars in the past not able to get around that corner. Now the circuit opens up and you can weave and get as much heat generated as possible as we get the official notification that the BMW safety car will peel off. We'll be racing at the end of this lap, led by Ted Bjork.
And Benny Santoso has been allowed out then, so number 56 has left the pit lane, others not being able to rejoin as the green flags fly, and we go back racing with Ted Bjork coming across the line, getting the jump on Mikkel Ashkana, and then Norbert Mikelic in third place, Jan Erlacher fourth, ahead of Girolami, and the rest of the pack come pouring over the timing line then to get this race back underway with one extra lap added on because of the safety car intervention. They go toe-to-toe down there through Reservoir and head out of Mandarin for the first time. Down towards Lisboa. This is where Ted Bjork tries to get away. This is where Erlacher further back in the queue comes up to have a go at the two Hyundais, which I think are going to switch order, aren't they? So Mikelic tries to get himself up past Ashkana as they drop down towards the right-hander as he goes by. Good for the championship. Mikelic gifted second.
The switch is done. It's done nice and early, nice and cleanly as they head out of our view up San Francisco Hill. And a second bite at this, but Jan Erlacher missed out on the first start and has kept it neat and tidy on this second chance.
Has indeed. So the gap opening up then. Ted Bjork getting away, got to get his sort of head back into the zone, hasn't he? As there you see Mikelic fending off Jan Erlacher, and we've heard how quick those Lincoln Co's are in a straight line. And of course towards the end of the lap where the road is wider, they are fast. That's where the straights come. So Erlacher getting himself into a position where he can challenge Ashkana as they wriggle their way then now down towards Faraway Hill. Ted Bjork trying to build that gap. Erlacher on a mission, catching up to the Hyundais that can't live, can they, even through the twiddly bit, seemingly, with the race-leading Lincoln Co. And on the back of them is Nestor Girolami, another of the Hyundai drivers. We've got that teams battle, of course, between the Cyan Racing Lincoln Co's, between the Hyundai team, which is the BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa, and that's going to be played out in this race. I think we'll have a champion come the end of it. They climb the hill to Donna Maria.
But they will say down in pit lane they don't want to talk about the championship, but for sure they'll be thinking about it. And Ted Bjork is doing his level best on this opening lap to extend a bit of a gap, and he shows his intent. He's put in an overall best, a purple in sector number 3 here, just trying to get a bit of a gap, a bit of breathing space, as Norbert Mikelic now puts in a purple in sector 4. The game is well and truly on.
It is indeed, and really this is the first time they've been through these sectors at proper race pace, isn't it? Because we had the red thrown by now on the opening lap of the race. As down they come, there is one slow car there getting out of harm's way, limping back. That's one of the local Hyundais, I think, was crawling around the circuit for reasons immediately apparent. But the leader comes by, and Ted Bjork then getting away inexorably now. From Mikelic in second place, gap back, third is Ashkana, and fourth, right on his tail, is Jan Erlacher as they go now down through Reservoir. And this is where the second of those bright blue Lincoln Co's is going to make a move. Down towards Mandarin they will come. Erlacher has a tentative look to the inside. This is a really ballsy part of the circuit. You've got to be so brave through that right-hander. And Erlacher is brave, and he puts himself in the draft, ready to have a go. Down to Lisboa. And as they head towards the braking zone, on the outside line comes Jan Erlacher. He's not going to do it on the outside. Wants wide in and tight out. Can't do it there, though.
You can certainly intimidate, can't you? And I think that's what Erlacher was doing that time, going down towards Lisboa. Didn't take a risky manoeuvre there on Ashkana into the right-hander at Lisboa, but certainly was showing intent. So close to the back of the third-place car at the moment. Meanwhile, we do have a situation that we have a 1.5 second advantage at the conclusion of lap number 1 for Ted Bjork over Norbert Mikelic, and we keep an eye as well on Rob Huff, this story that's going to emerge over the course of 2 races. Qualifying didn't go the way of Huffy yesterday, but he is now up to 7th place.
And it's Martin Tau ahead of him, who, with respect, he ought to be able to pick off. So top 6 beckons for Rob Huff, but he's not going to win the race, I don't think, given how strong the opposition is up the road and given the pace of the cars. Of course, these are manufacturer entries in real terms, whereas the Volcano Motorsport squad, for whom Rob Huff drives, is very much an independent team. Benny Santoso under investigation for moving to the fast lane during the race suspension. But the race leaders in the meantime come up through Donna Maria. We are looking at, remember, 11 laps because of the extra lap added on with that 1 lap of safety car. And up front at the Malco hairpin, Ted Bjork not getting away quite so much now.
No, it's peculiar as well, because really pushed on the opening lap after the resumption of racing. But now on sector 2, not even a personal best, Sector 3, not even a personal best. Sector 4, not even a personal best. Now that's slightly perplexing. We'll see what that does as far as the gap between himself and Norbert Mikulits in second place. But this is not really a push lap for Ted Bjork, and I can't see a reason why.
Unless it is purely that he doesn't need to push across the mountain section. He can just wait for here, the wider, faster part of the circuit, where he knows the car is quick anyway, and his last sector is a personal best. So towards the end of the lap, that's where he's able to turn up the wick. He's almost playing with the Hyundais, you could argue. Mikulits then in second place, still third is Ashkana. Now, this is where we expect demon things from Erlaché. Up into sixth, by the way, is Rob Huff, and he's done the fastest lap of the race in the process. But they're dropping back in fifth spot, Nestor Girolami, and he will be the next target for Rob Huff, who has got to make up about 0.6 of a second as they drop down towards the right hand of Lisboa, and there's the fight on for third and fourth. Ashkana versus Erlaché, who's done the absolute best sector one.
Whatever car Rob Huff is in, whatever team Rob Huff is driving with, he can turn it on for the gear circuit at Macau, can he not? A 2:32.1 for Rob Huff, up into sixth place, past Martin Cow, as you said, and up into sixth place overall from a lowly qualifying position for Rob yesterday. Now this time, Ted Bjork is putting in purple sectors, goes purple in sector 2. It was just 0.3 of a second down to Norbert Mikulits on the conclusion of the previous lap. But this time, I think Ted Bjork is pushing on the tight and twisty part of the circuit.
I mean, maybe it's purely that now that he's had a lap of warmth into the rubber, he feels a bit more confident to push those Kumhos, whereas he didn't on the first lap, didn't need to on the first lap, because he knew where he could exploit the strengths of the Lincoln Co. And interestingly, Erlaché has not yet been able to do much about Ashkana, has he? Despite the fact that he's good in sector 1, he wasn't able to make a move, and is not yet able to make a move on the mountain part of the track as well. Huff sixth, closing on Girolami. So can we get him onto the podium? It's possible by the end of the race. Through Donna Maria go the race leaders, and we are currently on lap 5 out of the 11.
Erlaché is, I think, maintaining that gap and trying to stay as close as he can to Ashkana, but needs a little slip-up, I think, to present the opportunity, because they seem so very, very evenly matched. Ted Bjork puts in a personal best in sector 4, and that compares to Mikulits not doing so. Didn't do so on sector 3. None of them did, actually, go down the top 6, and no one has put in a personal best in sector 3, but personal best for Ted Bjork in sector 4. They all pan out, head down towards the conclusion of this lap. It's going to be lap number 5, which is completing at the end of this.
And Ted Bjork's advantage of 1.2 seconds. Last time is 1.6 seconds this. Third, Ashkana, he is in turn 8/10 up on Erlaché. Then it's Girolami, and then Rob Huff goes through in sixth place, having got past and pulled away from Martin Tsao, who is therefore the leader of TCR China within the race. And that's looking good for him as far as the championship is concerned there. 8th is Dusan Vukovic, 9th is Jason Zhang, and 10th is David Zhu, as the cars come now out of Mandarin, down once more towards Lisboa. And Erlaché is confusing me a little bit here, because in theory he should have a quicker car. He's always good within sector 1, but he's never close enough by the time they get to Lisboa to have a go. Girolami to Huff then. Sector 1, Huff quicker by just under 0.2.
And you made the point earlier on, bear in mind that these are manufacturer cars that we see with the Lincoln Co's and the Hyundai's right at the front of the field. Rob Huff, not so. He's driving with an independent team over the course of this weekend here at Macau. And if you were an independent team, how pleased would you be if you signed up Rob Huff, that you know goes so well around Macau? He's just put in an overall best sector for sector 2, but this is an interesting overall best sector. To the 1,000th of a second, exactly the same time in sector 2 as second place Norbert Mikulits,
who did it first on that very same lap. But yes, the same sector time to the 1,000th, and as the cars now wriggle their way downhill once more, Huff edging closer to Girolami. He's taken hundredths out of him in sector 2, not 10, so it's harder work from here on in, but he is getting there as the leaders make the run once more. Up from Police to Moorish, they go through that right-hander. The next climb is up to Don Maria, and Huff getting nearer and nearer. There he is, to the back of Nestor Girolami. So it is now Ted Bjork, in fact, with the fastest lap of the race. He did that last time by to try to stretch the margin. And with his main title rival, Norbert Mikulits, behind him now, it's another important situation, this, because he will be on for 30 points for a win 25 points for second place. So we could be looking at a 5-point margin just in favour of Mikelic going into tomorrow's race, if things stay as they are.
I've often asked Rob Huff what is the key to success here at Macau around the gear circuit. He, in a touring car, would know as well as anybody. It's a very short answer, it's a short word, his answer, and essentially it translates into bravery. You've got to be brave around the streets of Macau. And brave equals quick, doesn't it? As we see the top 6 come through, they're competing now. 6 laps in the book, the advantage for Ted Bjork, 1.7 seconds over Norbert Mikelic, and Ashkener and El Ashe continue their battle for 3rd and 4th. Girolami and Rob Huff complete the top 6. 6 laps are now complete.
7th Martin Tau, 8th Dusan Borkovic, 9th Jason Zhang, 10th David Zhu. As down towards Lisboa. This time, El Ashe does have a look to the inside of Ashkener to no avail, but just by darting out of the draft there, hopes to unsettle the Spanish driver, but it doesn't pay out for him. Girolami, meantime, the Argentine driver keeping Rob Huff at bay. So, of course, the further up the order Huff gets, the harder it is to make the progress, isn't it? Because you're now dealing with some of the big guns, the double Super TC 2000 champion Nestor Girolami, but Huff getting nearer as they come now on towards Teddy Yip and then down to maternity. And a little bit wide there goes Girolami. This is going to be a proper battle, isn't it? Because you can feel, even watching it, the pressure getting to it.
I've seen Huffy have a nibble and make places up on this tight, twisty section. You hold your breath, you breathe in, the car does the same, and I have seen overtaking manoeuvres work on this section of the circuit, but boy, do you have to be brave. Ashkener goes purple in sector 2 with Jan El Ashe still right there behind. 6 laps are in the book. We're watching Rob Huff, the multiple race winner here at Macau, not just in the gear race, but other tin top categories as well over the years. For Rob Huff, currently down there in 6th place. Make no mistake at all. His family are his biggest supporters, and whatever the time of day or night it is, they will be tuning in and watching this back in the UK and cheering on Rob Huff.
His family and you are his biggest supporters. I think you're a Huffy fan, aren't you?
Very much so.
We've got a yellow at Lisboa, and so at turn 3, it's towards the rear of the pack, I fear. Somebody has had a moment. Looks like Benny Santoso's car went up the escape route. He's under investigation anyway, but he's rejoined, so the road is clear. Here is Ted Bjork down towards the right-hander of Fisherman's, and Bjork's advantage is just enough. He might not be getting away massively, but he only has to win by 1,000th as long as he wins. So Ted Bjork up front, heading for the point, and there's nothing, it seems, that Mikelic there in 2nd place can do.
No, 1.7 seconds the advantage that Ted Bjork had over Norby at the conclusion of lap number 6. What's it going to be at the end of lap number 7? Bjork comes through, Mikelic comes through. It's come down 1.5 seconds, and Ashkener, defending from Jan El Ashe, has put in the overall best lap at 2:31.59 over the course of lap number 7. So Ashkener, far from making the mistake that El Ashe is hoping for, has responded by putting in a best lap of the race under pressure. That's a good lap. It is. They've both got 30 kilos of compensation weight as well to lug round, as Nestor Girolami in a straight line gets away slightly from Rob Huff. 8/10 was the margin between those two as they broke the beam last time. Down for Lisboa, we're on lap number 8 then now. So Ted Bjork edging closer to a 3rd victory of the season. So this is the first race of the weekend. It's another 10-lap race. Change for 7th place as Dusan Borkovic dives up the inside of Martin Sau, and that was a good move. So through goes Borkovic, and Martin Sau, to an extent, prepared to let him go because he knows that that's not his fight. Okay, he can score World Tour points, but he needs to make sure he's scoring in TCR China, and he could be on to be the champion by tomorrow afternoon. Great support down there in the pit lane with the connections of Dusan. And we now have this very, very close battle on the tight section. That was Santiago Urrutia, who, partly thanks to all the carnage on the first lap and just getting past Huang Doyon, is up into 14th from 32nd on the grid. Remarkable that, isn't it? A very unhappy Friday and a much happier Saturday here at Macau. It is just wonderful being on board these touring cars, threading their way through with the barriers and the walls. You get just what a view, a superb view of how claustrophobic this part of the circuit is. True enough, and down to the Melco hairpin comes Ted Bjork then.
with Norbert Mikelic there in second spot. The gap back to Auschkunner in third, to Erlascher in fourth. And then for fifth place, Nestor Girolami goes very deep into the Melco hairpin, just breaks a fraction too late, and that is going to give Rob Huff an even greater chance of getting through come the end of the lap, because he will have the momentum coming off the corner down through Black Sands.
Coming out of the Melco hairpin is a remarkably important part of the circuit, because it opens up down through Black Sands, down towards Fisherman's and Arben, quick parts of the circuit. You get a good exit from Melco, carry the speed down into the final couple of turns on the gear circuit, and that could set you up for a good move. You're thinking ahead on the run down towards Lisboa. It is very, very important to get a good exit from Melco.
They're sitting in the pit lane out of the race. You see one of the local drivers, frustration abounds, as down towards Mandarin, Huff closes onto the back of Girolami. This time around it was half a second between them when they came over the line, and he's possibly now near enough to make a move. It's going to be a bold move, but it could be on down at Lisboa if he's in the draft, if he gets the toe, if he's really brave on the brakes. But Girolami comes off the inside line, and Rob Huff has to dutifully stay behind as they go into Lisboa now on lap number 9 out of 11.
Better to get sixth place at the end of this race than not finish at all, I would reckon. So Rob Huff doing a jolly good job there in sixth place, and thinking, okay, well, maybe there'll be a better opportunity presented, but not worth risking anything on this occasion. However close he is to the back of Girolami's car, under a bit of pressure. You can see that, the puff of smoke there, as they were heading into this tight and twisty part of the circuit, with Teddy Yip on the left-hand side, the wall on the left-hand side around Teddy Yip and into the Solitude S's, the two of them absolutely tied together. You wouldn't want to see that in your mirror, would you?
Not hugely, no. As you look at Arrutia, still making progress as he goes now through Lisboa. Been quite a drive this, but remember that for race 2 it does him precious little good, because you only reverse the top 10, not from the race, but from qualifying. So he's still going to be at 32nd, be at the ferry terminal tomorrow. Ted Bjork comes out of the right-hander of Moorish, goes up the hill towards Donna Maria. It's a longer section than you think that, and it's also pretty steep. Now through that long left, and you still climb before you just tip over the brow, heading up towards the Melco hairpin. Huff on the inside of Girolami, trying to unsettle him, trying to force a mistake out of the Argentine driver, and it almost came there.
It's exactly what he's doing around that long left-hander at Donna Maria, up towards the Melco hairpin. Huffy got a good exit from here on the last lap, and Girolami not so much. This time they both go through together, and the circuit opens up now. The run down through Black Sands, down towards Fisherman's. The two of them absolutely tied together. This the battle for fifth place, and Rob Huff with all that experience, all that success here at the gear circuit at Macau. He needs something to give here. He may well be on the tail of Girolami. He needs the tiniest of errors, as they are about to complete 9 laps going in the book at the end of this one, already completed by Ted Bjork, our race leader. And now the gap has extended between Ted Bjork, the race leader, and Norbert Mikelic in second place to 2 seconds.
Has indeed, and Ted Bjork heading for a first win on the streets of Macau. But importantly for him, for the championship, the third of the season, and importantly he's ahead of Mikelic, who in turn is not going to be challenged by Ashkona. There is a drive-through penalty for Benny Santoso for what it is worth, for being in the fast lane when he shouldn't have been, and then moving to the working lane while the race suspension was there. So he's going to be given a drive-through, but as I say, matters not. He was last down the pits anyway. He's a long way back as the leaders go out of the right of Lisboa, and you look back on the climb, the steep climb up San Francisco Hill. The modern skyscrapers on one side, the older flats on the other, heading up towards Teddy Yip and then Maternity, with Ted Bjork 2 seconds to the good, and he's on lap 10. Last lap he will start next time around, and it's setting him up nicely this for the championship maybe.
Certainly is. Ted Bjork, yeah, looking for the top step of the podium here at Macau for the first time. It's been close. It's knocked on the door. About to maybe look at the going on to the final lap. Just keep everything neat and tidy. Keep that gap between himself and Norbert Mikelic, and take a top step here at Macau. Is going to be something special in the career of Ted Bjork. And as we look towards the final part of the gear circuit, any moment now, with the barriers on the left and the right, and the walls on the left and the right, they negotiate those tricky right-handers, Police and Moorish, such a test in a touring car, in a GT car. Big puff of smoke from the tyres there. Back to this battle for 5th place with Girolami defending from Rob Huff. Rob Huff has put Girolami under a huge amount of pressure. He's been there pretty much for the entire race since the race restarted after suspension. You need something to give. You can't force your way through here around the streets of Macau. And Mr. Girolami has not offered that opportunity thus far for Rob Huff. Jan Ellershade has put in a couple of personal best sectors towards the closing stages of the race. No one else has in the top 6.
And onto the last lap has gone Ted Bjork. The gap's down a little bit to Norbert Mikelic, but I think that's Ted Bjork driving within himself. Again, as long as he's quick on this part of the circuit, which is the way he can do the overtaking, he can be as slow as he wants up the mountain section. Mikelic second, Ashkan third. Now that's good news, isn't it, for the championship, as far as the BRC Hyundai M Squadra Corsa is concerned, because they've got 2 cars up there, second and third, whereas it's a 1-4 for the Lincoln Co Cyan Racing Squad. Is this Huff's chance to think about a move? He might be thinking about it, but he's on the outside line again. Brakes as late as he does. And Girolami makes sure there's no real opportunity to get through there.
And again, I think being 6th place for Rob Huff in this position is better than throwing it all at making 5th place and it not working and not getting a finish, because Rob has equipped himself very, very well during this race, and he's not going to take any unnecessary risks. So often those moves down at Lisboa don't work. There's a bit of experience at work, and Rob Huff has driven a great race here, and so too has Ted Bjork, and we're running on board with Ted in the 111 car, and looks to be on course. The gap came down a little bit between himself and Norby on the last lap. Came down by the factor of a couple of tenths of a second, down to 1.8 seconds at the end of lap number 10. But that's a nice cushion to have to go into the final lap.
And it will be also enough, this, to give Cyan Racing the team's title. So, although it's a 1-4 for the Lincoln Co's, add the points up and add them to what they've already got, that's going to be okay. They can take the championship, as down towards the Melco hairpin for the last time comes Ted Bjork, Norbert Mikelic, Michel Askinen, and then Jan Ellershade. Second, third, fourth, Constantine into the braking zone. Girolami gets sideways then as he hits the brakes, but again, there's no real opportunity for Rob Huff to go through, and the narrowness of the road means that by the time Girolami has sorted himself out, that just gets to the end of that part of the track where Huff could have made a move, but it's too narrow anyway, so Girolami is back in his stride as they come now down towards the final corner of race 1 of the weekend in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour.
We have this to look forward to again tomorrow. What can Ted Bjork do today? Because today it's going to be number 1 for Ted Bjork. Takes a win here on the streets of Macau. Car number 111, the Lincoln Co. takes a win, and the team, Paul Ridgway and the rest of the team, congratulate each other, and so too do they down at Hyundai for Norbert Mikelic, who takes 2nd place to a tune of 1.8 seconds. A great result for Ted Bjork.
And Zhang Zhendong has won TCR Asia thanks to his win, and Max Hart not finishing the race, and that's going to give us now 5 points between Mikelic and Bjork going into tomorrow's race. It's going to be a proper championship showdown, and on a reverse grid, or a semi-reverse grid. Top 10 on today's grid will be reversed for tomorrow, just to make it even more dramatic. So that's going to put Ted Bjork 10th, but Norbert Mikelic, remember, who was 4th on the grid, is going to have the advantage tomorrow on the starting order. So it's going to be really interesting tomorrow to see what the teams do, isn't it? How they play that chess game to slot their drivers around to give Mikelic and Bjork the best chance for their respective teams. But it is Lincoln Co. that wins the team's championship.
So Ted Bjork very happy with the job that he has done. He really didn't put a wheel wrong, did he? Kept it neat, kept it tidy. He got a nice little gap at the start of the restart, and he looked extremely focused all day yesterday when we were going through qualifying, and he has done absolutely what he came here to do. Say, we don't want to think too much about the championship, but I'll tell you what, there will be now. And looking at the points heading into tomorrow, Ted Bjork very, very good work. Ticket box for 10 here at Macau. Norbert Mikulits some 1.8 seconds behind in second place. And Mikkel Ashkana completes the podium position. So we'll have the podium presentation in due course. We'll see the drivers arriving back in Fairmate. Jan Elechet completes the top 4, with Giolami and Rob Huff completing the top 6. Vukovic in 7th place, and Martin Tao in 8th place, with Jason Zhang and David Dew completing the top 10 at the end of 11 laps, the slightly increased distance for race 1 this weekend for the Macau Gear Race and the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour events of Macau. So our race winner threads his way for the final time on Saturday at Macau, down from the Melco hairpin, and will onwards and inwards into Parc Fermé. And I think there'll be reasonably, you can see Mikulits just wiping the sweat from the eyes down inside the cockpit. It will have been an incredibly hot event inside those cars, and made all the more so from the time they spent down in pit lane. And kind of roast yourself when the cars come to a stop and you're still in the race overall, still in the fire retardant underwear as well. Down in pit lane, that's when you really start to get just a little bit too warm. And Ted Bjork will be very grateful to head into pit lane and arrive down in Parc Fermé and get a bit of fresh air. Glance down at the information panel inside the car, and we'll bring the car to a stop, indicating where the car needs to go. Where do I need to go? That way. And a full turn on the wheel to get the car in the right place and prepare for the press attention when the car comes to a stop, and to take the applause of the team as well, because into the technical check area down at the entry end of pit lane and the #1 board as well, Ted Bjork brings the number 111 car to a stop down in Parc Fermé. A moment to reflect and to assimilate the job that's been done here in Macau today, and then to get the netting down at the side of the car, climb out of the car, and for the first time, fists in the air for Ted Bjork. Pops the netting inside the car, back inside to get the helmet off as quickly as he can. After celebration with the team, they come down to offer their congratulations, and so too the world's press as well. And team champion confirmed. That's good to hear. So double celebrations for Ted Bjork, and a good job. He's done quite a lot of that. The hand heart emoji to the cameras today, and Ted's got a lot of love with good reason. He's going to be on the top step of a touring car podium at Macau, and very well deserved. Phew. Off comes the helmet, off comes the balaclava, and receives the podium cap, #1 on the side of it. And that is a very happy race winner. Confirmation, Ted Bjork wins here at Macau, round 13 of 14 for the TCR World Tour event here at Macau. Norbert Mikulits in second, Askana in third, Elechet, Giolami, Huff, Vukovic and Cow complete the top 8 for round 13, the penultimate round of the season for the Kumho FIA TCI World Tour event of Macau. Confirmation of the rest of the finishers for our penultimate race of the season, and the first of 2 events here for the TCR cars for the Macau Gear Race, which we look forward to tomorrow. Confirmation of the results all the way down to 24th place as we prepare for the podium, and with the press down there in pit lane all assembled around Ted Bjork's car in the technical check area, and we're going to hear from a winner at Macau down in pit lane.
Ted Bjork, massive congratulations for you. You turned that pole position into your third victory of the season, the first here in Macau. Plus, you helped the team seal that team championship. What a race for you.
It was fantastic. So I decided from the beginning, if they want to beat me, they have to be so fast, you know. So I just give it everything. It was my track. You know, it felt like my track. It was so good. But I got all the good support from the team, and you know, they fixed the car perfect. I could just enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, enjoy this moment, but tomorrow you're just 5 points off the lead. It's going to be a good race.
It's going to be a good race, but they showed today that they want a clean fight. It was big respect, you know, no issues. Ascona had, you know, a little bit of try in the beginning when he was close to me, but I'm very proud of the respect that I'm getting from the others. So.
Congratulations for today. Thank you, Ted.
Lisa down there, thank you very much indeed. Great to hear from our race winner. Cool, calm and collected, and absolutely delighted, not just with the race result for himself personally, but also for the team as well. Confirmation of the driver's standings, and yeah, just 5 points between the two of them now. 10 it was going into that first race of the weekend. Ted knew exactly what he needed to do, and he has done exactly that. Win the race and bring the gap down to 5 points. Heading into tomorrow with the forecast that we're going to have hot and dry conditions for the Macau gear race. And so already here at Macau, you can see the wheel trolleys are being brought out onto the circuit, because we are counting down to our next race, our penultimate race of the day, the qualification race for the Macau GT Cup and FIA GT World Cup. So preparations are taking place, and cars are going to be released for that very soon indeed. But we have yet to enjoy the podium presentations for our first race of the weekend for the Macau gear race, and the TCR cars, the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour event of Macau. Confirmation of that result: Ted Bjork, Norbert Mikulitz and Ascona on the top 3 steps of the podium. And that podium presentation will come up, and very quickly it's going to be the presentation of the grid for our GT race as well. Those mouth-watering cars are going to be very soon here on the grid at Macau. Before that, the podium presentation will be conducted, and it's been prepared. The presentations for the overall top 3 and also the winning team all represented, and then we'll have a second podium for the trophy for the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour in Macau as well. And the FIA Touring Car Commission President Alan Gow will make the presentations for the FIA element and that podium, and we have various dignitaries and representatives of sponsors involved in this very important weekend here at Macau that will make the presentation for the overall top 3 for the Macau gear race as well. 2 podiums coming up, and driver standings confirmation once again that Norbert Michelitz leads from Ted Bjork to the good of 5 points, just 5 points between the two of them. And if you bear in mind that we have a shuffled grid for our final race of the weekend, we have a mouth-watering prospect. Local time tomorrow, 10:55. Don't miss it here at Macau in the UK. That will be in the middle of the night. I'm sure many of you will be tuning in for that championship showdown. The showdown that we've enjoyed so many years here at Macau, and we will have it all unfolding. Local time, get underway, 10:55 tomorrow morning. Right, so as we look over to the podium, we can see the world's press are lined up on the gantry, which is directly opposite this huge podium with the LED backdrop, a massive television screen behind the podium, and the various officials are down there, and you can look down from the commentary box onto the grid as well. And now we get a view of the podium. That's normally an indication that we're pretty close to getting the drivers onto the top 3 steps on the podium. Right, chance for the teams to talk about this unique event and the unique challenges. There are smiles all around. As far as the championship is concerned, well, they can do what they can do tomorrow. They've done everything they can do today in the penultimate rounds of the year. And we are ready with our podium
World Tour
presentation.
event of Macau Race 1. First of all, let's welcome the winning drivers to the podium. On the second runner-up, number 196, Macau Azcona from Spain. Our first runner-up, number 105, Norbert Michelitz from Hungary. And the winner is number 111, Ted Bjork from Sweden. And our team winner is Lincoln Co. Zion Racing. The representative is Alexander Musavskig. Welcome, gentlemen. And now it's time for the national anthem for the winner. Now let's invite the presenter to the front. I would like to invite Mr. Nuno de Luz Madench, Vice Secretary General of SJM, to present the laurel and the trophy for Macau Gear Race to the second runner-up, Macau Azcona from Spain. Congratulations! Thank you. And now, I would like to invite Dr. Hui Quinyang, Secretary General of SJM, to present the laurel and trophy to our first runner-up, Norbert Michelitz from Hungary. Thank you. And now may we invite Ms. Angela Leong, Director of SJM, to present the laurel and trophy to the winner first. Number 111, Ted Bjork from Sweden. And also to the team winner with Representative Alexander, please receive the trophy and the laurel. Thank you. Please remain at the center. Let's take a group photo together, please. Would our guests please gather at the center? Please look to the front for a group photo together. Thank you, wonderful. And our Drivers, please look to the front. Please look to the front and let's take a group photo together, please. Please look at the center front at our media zone. Our cameras are there to capture your very special moment. All right, congratulations. Would all the winning drivers please remain on stage? Thank you, all guests. Thank you very much. Would all the drivers please remain on stage, remain on the podium? Thank you. Please remain, would all the drivers please remain on the podium? Please remain on the podium.
So that was our podium presentation for our first race of the weekend for the TCR cars, the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour event of Macau. And we've got the Macau gear race to look forward to tomorrow.
And again to the winner, number 111 Ted Bjork from Sweden. Thank you. And also, I would like to invite Mr. Machalo Lotti, WSC President, to present the laurel and the trophy to the team winner, please. Welcome, Mr. Lotti. It's Lincoln Cole Scion Racing, and the representative is Alexander Musavsky. Thank you, and I would like to invite our presenter to the center. Let's take a good photo together. Please gather at the center of the podium, and let's take a group photo together, please. And of course, with our winning drivers as well, with all the trophies.